It's time for the Fred Jackson Show with running back Fred Jackson and co-host Bob Kuschinski. Brought to you by Dewville College, educating for life, and Gate Circle Wine and Liquor. Now from the WBBZ-TV studio at the Eastern Hills Mall, welcome Fred Jackson and co-host Bob Kuschinski.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, what a crowd. Welcome to the Fred Jackson Show, ladies and gentlemen. The star of our show tonight, Fred Jackson. And our special guest tonight, Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly's with us tonight. If you'd like to tweet us your questions and or comments to the Fred Jackson Show at WBBZ on Twitter. You also can find us on Facebook. Go to Brad Gelber, standing by waiting for your questions. Let's hear it for Brad Gelber. Wow, we had to turn people away tonight. We've got standing room only, and I thought word got out that I was doing the show with you, Fred, for a second.
I don't know.
No?
I mean, we got to have Jim on every week,
Jim,
I guess.
yeah. I did the Jim Kelly show 22 years ago. Yeah, Jim still looks like he could play. I look like I did the show 22 years ago. Anyway, okay, so tough game yesterday. You're tired. I can tell. This is the first show you've come in, I think, this year. You look like you just played a football game.
Yeah. I mean, I think more than anything, that one just mentally took its toll on me. You know, that was one that I wanted bad, and, you know, to go out there and we didn't get it. You know, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. You know, I had to be up early today. So, you know, I think I'm wearing it a little bit on my face.
Now, you've had a lot of disappointments in Foxborough, especially the new stadium. This one, you know, the first half was a very tough half. They were running the ball at will, and yet at the end of the third quarter, you're only down by 6. How much did that kickoff return take out of that momentum that you guys had started to build up?
That was a huge play for them, you know, and it definitely took its toll, took the air out of our lungs, so to speak. But you got to give him credit. You know, he made a play. LeGarrette Blount made one of the best plays he could have made at the time, or if not the best play he could have made at the time. And, you know, we never shook back from it, you know, and, you know, just got to keep giving him credit. You know, we got to make that play there, and we didn't. So it was a bit of a struggle ever since the 2 kickoff returns that he had.
We've talked about this when you've had some defensive players on the show with you. The Bills' defense coming off a shutout win over the Dolphins, but it is not the same team when it goes on the road, especially defensively. You have any idea why that is?
You know, I think our defense feeds a lot off the crowd, you know, and the rowdier the crowd that we have, you know, the better they play. And, you know, when we're on the road and we don't have a lot of fans there, you know, it's hard for them to feed off of that. But you know, that's a learning curve that they have to that they have to get through. You know, they have to be able to play well like that, you know, anywhere that we go, you know, for us to win football games. And that's something they'll get done. You know, it was a young team, you know, with some of the players on that team that hadn't played a lot, you know, and the better they'll get, the better, the more that they're playing, you know, and, you know, but, you know, that's just growing pains that we're going to have to deal with. And, you know, we got to be able to play better on offense to kind of, you know, take some of the pressure off of those guys.
Thad Lewis at quarterback, he didn't have a bad game. And actually, if you look at the statistics, Tom Brady did not have a Tom Brady-like game. They just had so much success running the ball. They really didn't have to do too much else. But how bad were those conditions? I mean, for those who watched on television, you could tell it was raining, but you played in a lot of games. How bad was it?
That was one of the worst ones I've ever been a part of. You know, when they said there was going to be rain showers, you know, you didn't think it was going to be raining like that, you know, consistently throughout the game, and it did, you know, and that being said, you knew that they were going to run the ball, and we still didn't get the job done, you know, stopping them from running the ball and running the ball as well as we needed to at times. So they did a better job of running the ball. They controlled the clock more. You know, Brady didn't have to have a Brady game, you know, with the way that they were running the ball. And, you know, LeGarrette Blount was a huge asset for them yesterday. I mean, he played the game of his life, and, you know, you got to give him credit for doing so.
I never saw a 250-pound running back take one out of the end zone for 80 yards downfield. That was unusual.
That was impressive.
Dan Carpenter thought about trying to throw his body in front of him, then he thought better of it.
Train wreck.
Today, Ike Hilliard was let go as receivers coach. That's the only change. There was a news conference today. Marcel Darius was fine. Well, I'm sure he was. I'm guessing he was fine. I know he sat out a half of a game. I'm assuming that's going to touch his pocketbook. I'm not going to ask you to get into that, but just explain in general, what are the team rules as far as what's expected out of you as a professional?
Well, I mean, you have to be, we talk about it all the time, being accountable, and if you're not at meetings on time, there's certain things that have to be, set, and, that was one of them. He had been late to a couple of meetings, and coach had warned him, fined him. Of course he got fined for it. When you're late, as many times as he was, coach felt like he had to make, not make an example of him, but, let him know that it's serious. If we can't count on him to be at meetings, we can't count on him to be at the game either. So he did what he had to do. Marcel understands that. We all understand that. Of course, we want Marcel out there playing with us. Hopefully, this is something we don't have to deal with next year.
Well, Doug Marrone talked when he first came in about a culture change. Do you think at the end of season 1 there has been a culture change with this team?
Without a doubt. I don't know if you would have seen a guy like Marcel, set for the first half of a game for being late, with any other coaching staff that I've been a part of. So he's letting you know if you're not holding yourself accountable, if you're not going to show up and be at meetings with your teammates, then how can we know that you're going to be there for us, in a game,
right,
when it's time for you to be out there to make that play?
We're going to wrap up this segment, but I don't want to let the fact that it's Christmas week and New Year's about to come up. Did you have a good Christmas with the family?
I did. It's always fun when you got the kids waking up and, going downstairs, seeing all the presents that they have. We had a dollhouse that was the size of me down in our basement, so that was a lot of fun to see those girls playing with that.
You told me you were telling the kids you had a letter from Santa upstairs that said if they were bad, those gifts could go back.
I did, and they listened. For 3 days, I think we had perfect angels, and we gotta have Christmas more often, man. To use that in ammunition.
I think my mom's still holding on to that letter for me. She still threatens me with. Hey, we're gonna come back. Jim Kelly's gonna be here. We got a lot to talk about. Stay tuned. Fred Jackson Show right after this. And welcome back. It's the Fred Jackson Show. We got a very special guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly's in the house. Jim, this is a special treat because I said I did your show a long time ago.
No, you said 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it really that long?
Yeah, it was. 91, yeah.
Ouch.
Actually, 23, I guess.
Boy, that makes me feel really
but
old.
He's a lot easier to do a show with because, Fred, the deal with Jim was I did the show with Jim and Eddie Rakowski. And it would be Jim and Eddie and myself, and we would take turns asking questions of the guest. And Jim says, I'll go first, then Eddie, Bob, then you, and then it's my turn again. And if I can't think of something to ask, I'll elbow you. And that's what he did. It was like a Jim Kelly elbow to the ribs. So I was always hoping that you had a fourth question.
Don't worry,
Is that why you put that?
That's why I put that there, yeah. All right, Jim, you know a little bit something about football. You watched that game yesterday. What's your take on the way this team finished up?
Sad. Not just because Freddie's here. The thing is, you like what you see during some games. And then some games you wonder what they're thinking. Good example, Miami Dolphins, our defense totally shut them down. And you start getting excited about the team. You start getting excited about where they're going. And then you have a showing like yesterday where they gave up over 200 yards rushing. But the good part about it is, and I know Freddie's one of the veterans on the team, you see how many young guys we do have. But the bottom line is we're only going as far as our quarterbacks take us. And with EJ, I like what I see. There are times where I kind of wondered, is he still at Florida State? But there are times where I see flashes of greatness. But I think with a whole year, I think that's what everybody, including myself, was hoping that EJ would play a full year and get that experience under his belt, and he didn't get that. And so I think there's a lot of question marks still out there. But I love his leadership. I've heard him talk to players before. I heard him when he gets around you guys, the way he handles himself. I like everything about him, but he just needs that experience on the field.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that, you being as, Jim Kelly, one of the greatest of all time, had to be a very demonstrative, figure in that locker room, something that I can do, to help bring these guys along. I want to pick your brain and some of the things that I can say in that locker room, about this time of year.
Well, the thing is, when you are a quarterback, people think that you're automatically become a leader. You do to a certain point. And a lot of times it's not what you say, it's how you say it to somebody. How do you get them to rally behind you? Not so much follow you, but join in your beliefs, because there are a lot of times where I knew on certain players how I needed to talk to Andre Reed. Andre was a receiver that didn't like being yelled at a lot, but there are times where I knew I had to tell him how I felt. And we're the closest now. But when we're playing, and thank God there's no cameras on the sidelines like there is now back then, because we would have been on ESPN every week, not just me and Audrey, but our whole team. Bob, you've been around us.
Jim, I always think back, if there were cell phones when you guys played and when you went out.
There was a brick cell phones. Remember those brick ones?
Not with cameras on. Well, you had the kind of team where you would say what was on your mind, and you had personalities in your team, they'd tell you right back what they were thinking.
Well, here's the thing. What we had on our team was we didn't just have one leader, which was very good. It started at the top with Marv Levy. Marv always knew what to say and when to say it. He didn't say something if he thought it was just, throwing words out. He always knew what to say and when to say it. When I spoke, people listened. When Ken Hall spoke, people listened. When Bruce spoke, people were like, oh, no, not this again. No, the reason I say this is everybody has different ways of leading. Number one, you want to get the respect of your teammates. And I know, Freddie, talking to a lot of people, you are number one in that locker room. And whatever you say, trust me, everybody listens to. But you got to hold yourself, and I heard you say this before, accountable to not only what you do on the football field, but what you do away from the field, because people look up to, whether it's Marcel or whoever. When you have young players that are looking at somebody to be a leader on the team, you can't be you got to set the example. And that's one thing I think we need on this team, is more people like you to be able to speak up and say, and not be scared to say it.
Let me ask you something. When Nathan Hackett came in, you told me the story. You walked in to see Nate. He was looking at the K-gun offense on tape, on film. This offense didn't resemble the K-gun. They ran in no huddle, but it did not look like what you guys ran in the 90s. What happened? What did you think they were going to do?
I think he forgot what I told him. There's a lot of things that, and I'm going to sit down this year, and probably more than I've ever sat down with Nate. And you know what? One of the things you don't want to do, and people say, why don't you get in there and help out? It's not my job. My job is, I'm an ambassador for the Bills. I'm still employed by them. Thank God. Mr. Wilson has always been very gracious to a lot of players, former players. But times you don't want to trample on somebody else's feet. And there are times where, I would love to have been able to sit down with EJ a couple weeks and just tell him how I felt and tell him what he needs to do. But I think I will spend more time over there, not so much tramping on their feet or trying to say something that the coach is telling the opposite, but really giving the part of how I think in certain situations. Like, good example, you have third down, 3 to 4. You know you need a first down. You don't throw a long ball, which is only a 10% completion. You don't do that. You have to go with your percentages to get that first down, because you have to realize as a quarterback how important it is to move a chain in a crucial time in a football game. Yeah, it would be great to get the long pass, but the odds of you completing that pass are 10, 15%. So there are things that I would love to help on.
Okay, let's go to Brad Galver. I'm sure we've got plenty of questions. What do we have tonight, Brad?
Yep, yeah. The first one's going to be from Jim, and it's for Jim. So he wants to know, Jim, how many years did it take for you to feel comfortable at quarterback in the NFL?
Probably a couple years, but I was blessed because I played in the USFL for 2 seasons before I came to the NFL. I was never considered a rookie, so I couldn't win Rookie of the Year. I couldn't do any of that stuff. When I came in, it was I've already played 2 full years in the USFL. We played 18 games. Even though it wasn't the NFL, we still had some pretty good players in that league. Herschel Walker, I could go on and on, Reggie White. But it takes some time. But the only thing that I saw that we didn't have from EJ was a full season. That's what I would love. That's what everybody here, I think, would love. But it is. It's how far. You look at all and I don't mean to keep going on this question, but you look how many teams in the playoffs now, look who's behind the center.
Yeah. Brad, you sit tight because I don't want to run out of time in this segment. I know Jim's got something he also wants to talk about. Fan clips. What do we got, Jim?
Oh, real quick. Something I came up with. My son's foundation, Hunter's Hope, is a part of it, and I know Freddie has some, and the Buffalo Bills gave him the older season ticket holders. I got a few here, and what I'm going to do after the show is I got some trivia questions. I got some right here. This is pretty cool. I don't know if they are able to zoom in on this one. This is one of my favorites. It's the Fredonia Hillbillies. And if you can look at this, look at the logo. This is my favorite. I probably used this 10 times on my bag of chips, my bag, coffee bags, but I use it on my money clip. And everybody sees it, wants it. And I get, of course, the Buffalo Bills, but a portion of the proceeds go to Hunter's Hope or on all Tops, Wegmans, and
we just showed the website, so if a high school wants to raise money to buy new uniforms or whatever, this is better than selling candy bars or popcorn or whatever. I mean, these are a pretty neat gift.
Yeah, to make a long story short, that's probably one of our biggest things right now is fundraisers for high schools. They have AAU, and I know, Freddie, we've talked about that before. There's so many things you want to do to raise money for your high school. So whether it's band, cheerleading, football, it's a great opportunity. We're doing Star Point. We do Fredonia. We're doing St. Francis, St. Joe's. I can go on and on. All the high schools are participating, and it's a great way to raise money. It's a great way to so you don't have to have those candy bars and the cardboard air fresheners. These are something you can use.
And they're made right down in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Made in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is good. Our first shipment was from China, and the old saying, the long boat from China, well, it was a lot longer. It took so much time for it to get over. Now they're in Erie, Pennsylvania.
All right, we're going to be back. Guess what? It's going to be Fred Jackson versus Jim Kelly and the Hot Shot Challenge.
Uh-oh, whoa.
This is what we've been waiting for. We'll be back right after this.
Yeah.
Members of our studio audience receive a gift certificate and compete for prizes from Dave & Buster's. Watch the games, play the games at the Eastern Hills Mall. And Poster Art, Buffalo's only poster and t-shirt gift gallery, featuring the Fred X t-shirt, also at the Eastern Hills Mall.
And welcome back to the Fred Jackson Show. It's time for the Hot Shot Challenge. And what's so cool about this tonight, if you look at our Hot Shot Challenge, you got Steve Tasker, Andre Reed, and James Lofton, who Jim Kelly actually threw to back in the 90s. And our contestants that we have,
Travis.
Where are you from, Travis?
Lewiston.
Lewiston? Okay, and?
Celeste.
And you're here all the time, Celeste. You're a fan of Fred Jackson?
Yep.
Yeah, where are you from?
Medina.
Medina. Okay, so you got Fred as your teammate, and Jim, you're going to have Travis. So Travis, you go first. Visitors go first. Pick a spot. Take a shot. Winner gets a gift certificate to Dave & Buster's. Oh, almost got the rebound. Okay, Celeste, you're up. Put your team in the lead here. You ready? You've seen this a lot of times. Oh, all right, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Kelly. Who's he goes to here? Wow. Fred doesn't know what he should do here. What should he do? Let's go, Fred. And, you do it again. You do it again. We got, real quick, Jim. Let's see if you can break the tie. He did it. All right, Fred, you're up. And, Jim Kelly won that one. So let's hear for Jim Kelly and Travis. We'll be back to wrap up Fred Jackson Show right after this. Enter to win a home heating system from Reimer Heating, the Wizard of Comfort. Go to our website, WBBZ-TV. Click the Reimer logo at the top of the page and submit your name, phone, and email. Then watch the Fred Jackson Show Tuesday night, January 7th, for the winning announcement. That's next week, a special edition of the Fred Jackson Show. Next week it's going to be Tuesday. Jim, thanks so much. Have a happy New Year. It's always great seeing you. Say hello to the family.
I definitely will. Thank you, and good luck to you in the off-season, buddy.
Fred, we're going to wrap it all up next week. I know you want to take a long week to take a rest. Next Tuesday night, we'll do it all over again for one last time.
Sounds good. I don't think it can match tonight, though. I haven't had this much fun with a guy like this in a while.
Well, the night's just beginning. We'll be back next week. Until then, Bob Kuczynski saying have yourself a good night and a much better tomorrow.